The total fuel quantity required is dialed up on the pre-selector. The individual tank switches have wing tanks only are automatically selected for fuel states up to 7,300 kilograms or 16,100 pounds or 8,300 kilograms or 18,300 pounds when auxiliary tanks are fitted. The valve position indicators read cross-hatched, unpowered, shut, or open. At pre-select, the indicator should read open for the wing tanks. The center tank reads open only if its capacity is needed with wing tanks being full. Refueling can now start. Tanker pressure refueling up to 50 psi maximum can now be applied. Refueling stops automatically when the pre-selected fuel quantity is reached. The valve indicators read shut. Tank switches must now be placed to shut and the refuel master switch placed in the off position. Pre-select can only be used for fuel loads up to approximately 8,800 kilograms, 19,400 pounds, or 9,700 kilograms, or 21,400 pounds when auxiliary tanks are fitted. If a higher fuel load is set, the valves will automatically shut at the mentioned quantities. Override must now be used and the switch is selected to shut when the desired fuel load is reached. If the switches are not turned off manually, the high-level float switches will stop refueling when the tanks are full. This is indicated by the white full lights and shut. The hose can now be disconnected, the refueling cap replaced, and the panel closed. Over-wing gravity refuel. There are 3 filler caps for over-wing refueling of the 3 main tanks. The auxiliary tanks cannot be refueled from the over-wing points. Defueling. Initially, the procedures are the same as for refueling until the tanker is attached to the aircraft. AC power is required for defueling because the boost pumps are used. The offload valve must be rotated to the 6 o'clock position after removing the mechanical bulk. This connects the fuel feed line to the refuel-defuel line. If there is fuel in the center tank transfer must be open. The crossfeed and common feed valve should be open and the boost pump selected on. Tanker suction is applied to a maximum of -11 psi. When the correct load remains in the aircraft, tanker suction must be stopped. The boost pumps not in use are switched off. Then the crossfeed, common feed, and center tank transfer are all selected shut. The tanker is now disconnected, the defuel valves reset, and the refuel panel door closed. The block on the refuel panel will not allow the door to be closed unless the defuel valve has been correctly reset. The 4 feed tank gauges are checked that they are full. The feed low-level annunciator should be out. The auxiliary tank not empty annunciators are checked. They should be lit if there is fuel in the auxiliary tanks. All other annunciators should be out. The center tank transfer switch is selected to auto if there is fuel in the center tank. Otherwise, it is shut. The crossfeed should be shut. The standby pump should be at normal, and the common feed should be shut. When the boost pumps are selected on, a check is made to ensure that the master warning system fuel low pressure annunciators go out. The fuel contents are checked to ensure they are correct, balanced, and agree with the planned fuel in the flight plan. If the APU is running, expect that the left wing contents will reduce at approximately 80 kilograms or 180 pounds per hour. The fuel used must be reset to 0. In flight. When the aircraft takes off, fuel automatically transfers from the center tank to the wing tanks. If the center tank is being used, a check is made after takeoff to ensure that fuel is transferring correctly. Transfer is indicated by transfers to left tank, transfer to right tank, and fuel transfer. The fuel in the wing tanks should also remain close to full. When the center tank is empty, select the center tank transfer switch to open for 2 minutes before selecting it to shut. The auxiliary tank, not empty annunciators, will remain on until transfer is completed. This must be by 1,600 kilograms or 3,500 pounds for each wing, but could occur at significantly different times. In extreme conditions, the fuel temperature in the right outer feed tank should be monitored to ensure that it remains within the limit of 3 degrees above the published freezing point of the fuel used. When JP5 is used, the minimum fuel temperature is minus 25 degrees Celsius. Post-flight. When the engines have been shut down, the boost pumps are selected off. If the APU is being used, the left inner pump will remain on. Fuel asymmetry imbalance. Fuel imbalance up to 680 kilograms or 1,500 pounds is permitted in flight. However, it would be sensible to take action before this figure is reached. If it occurs, the cross-feed and common feeds can be used to feed fuel from the heavy wing to the engines on the other side to restore balance. The cross-feed cannot be used to transfer fuel from wing to wing. The first action is to open the cross-feed. The common feeds are then opened. Then the standby pumps are switched on. Finally, the boost pumps are switched off on the light side. This procedure is reversed when the fuel is balanced. Feed tank not filling. The left or right feed low level annunciator will illuminate if the level of either feed tank in a wing falls below full. There are a number of possible reasons for this to occur. For example, low fuel state without a fuel system failure. Possible fuel leak. Or both the inner and standby pumps failed on the same side. Each of these scenarios is covered with their own procedure in the emergency and abnormal checklist. For all other cases, the following procedure in the checklist should be completed. The first action is to switch the left and right standby pumps on. This is to assist the inner boost pump in its operation of the jet pumps. The feed tank quantities and wing tank quantities are then checked to establish which tank has caused the warning. The relevant inner pump should be confirmed on unless it has previously failed. If the previous actions do not correct the problem, land as soon as possible. On the affected side, only the fuel in the feed tanks can be relied upon.